Hello, beautiful people. And look, before I start this session, I have a big announcement to make. And, the documentary that's been in the works for a long time about my son Eric's life, it's almost finished. But in order to get to that finish line, the director producer Paula Marino needs some help. So she needs funds to cover all the professional fees that will be involved to bring the story to the screen. Like a professional story editor, a music composer, a sound mixer, an illustrator, animator, etc., etc. Now, Paula created a crowdfunding page where you can donate whatever you feel comfortable donating. You can also donate by purchasing a 30-minute session with one of our mediums, or by purchasing an item from the Erik merchandise store, like the one I'm wearing. Saving the world, one prank at a time. It's an embroidered image, so it's really nice. So anyway, go visit channelingericdoc.com and take a look at it. This project is very near and dear to my heart. And one of my greatest wishes is to get the story out to more people so we can help more people. And I want you to go and see the trailer that's on the channelingericdoc.com. It's so moving. It's so powerful. It was my first reaction. It was a gut punch. But it says it all. So look at the trailer and let me know what you think. Thank you, guys. Hello, beautiful people and beautiful Denise Ramon and my son Erik on the other side. You guys know Denise by now, but those of you who are new to the channel, you need to check her out. We're going to have her information on the screen and in the description box. Super healer, super channel. I mean, she's awesome. And I really adore her. She's done a lot to help individual members of my family as well. So I thank you for that. All right, Erik, I love you.
He says, I love you. You must be doing stuff around the house or something because he's in there helping. And I feel like you might straighten something this way and he turns it this way to let you know that he's in there helping. So I don't know what you're doing. And
I know he started a YouTube that was on the chair, like 2 chairs away, started playing a YouTube. So he's doing some weird stuff.
Yeah.
But he might want to clean out my drawers. They're all such a mess.
He says, my expertise are not there yet.
I know, nor mine. All right, guess what, people? We are going to, and I know nothing about this, but it's probably going to have to be in a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 parts. AILEEN WUORNOS. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but it's WUORNOS. She is an American serial killer. In 1989, Erik, that was your birth year, to 1990, while engaging in street prostitution along the highways in Florida, she shot dead and robbed 7 of her male clients. She was on death row at the Florida Department of Corrections Broward Correctional Institute for a decade. Wuornos then began to practically ask for the process to be fastened. Speed it up. She went to the extent of promising repeated murders if left free, and also appealed to the state of Florida to execute her immediately. She was executed October 9th, 2002. So yeah, be careful what you wish for, AILEEN. So we got some questions from the community. Do you have AILEEN in your midst, you and Erik?
Erik has brought her in. I feel like it's Erik and then she's there. I feel a lot of sadness around her.
Look her up.
And there's just a lot of sadness. And Erik says she's still, processing, sifting through the sadness. And I feel like it's the sadness of her whole life.
Yeah. Anyway, she was born in 1956. She's a year younger than me. Everybody's younger than me. There she is.
Yeah.
It's sad. All right. Anyway, AILEEN, do you mind if we give you a chance to speak your mind and answer a few questions, etc.?
She says no, she comes in like very what do you call it, timid, like very very timid.
Yeah.
um she's a lot of but calmness is with her. It's not, it's like she's, I don't know how to
I
explain
might
it.
be
She's,
relieved. Yeah.
well, there is that, but it's almost like she's um like, oh, because she can take a breath now,
Yeah.
and she's, it's almost like she's, this is how she really is just real quiet
Oh,
and stuff.
okay.
um because she definitely was not that when she was here later in life.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, and Eric, you can assist, of course, questions from our wonderful community who always has such great questions. The first one is, Eileen, you have suffered, I can call you Eileen, I hope you can call me Lisa.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, she's,
you have suffered such horrible abuse as a child. I can't believe that this was in your soul contract. Well, I don't know, was it? Well, I mean, the abuse. What was the purpose of you suffering so much, Eileen? Was that part of the contract?
she said no. She said, part of her why she chose to come here was because she was going to help clean up the the dynamics, the DNA, the ancestral stuff of the abuse that went on within her family. I
Mm.
feel like both the from the biological father to the mother, and so she came in, and that's what she was supposed to do. But I feel like her mother was a product also of rape.
Mm.
I don't think it was classified as that because the way she shows me, it just like nothing ever was made of that. Um, but so she had that, she picked that up in the womb. And when she came out, she was going to help, you know, um, clean this up, to go a different direction. The abuse and everything was going to
Yeah.
stop with her. But she said the abuse just continued,
Yeah.
and the neglect. So it's almost like she's showing me, in order to keep breathing, she had to almost like split from her body, like a part
Mm.
of her split off. And so, no, it wasn't in her contract, but because of her actions, her behaviors, the consequences were a part of her, were a part of it.
Okay. Well, what kind of abuse did you receive and from whom when you were a child?
She said severe neglect from, and she's not blaming anybody. She says, I want everybody to know I take full responsibility for everything, but I just want to explain where it started from. So I don't hold anybody responsible other than me. She really wants everyone to know that. And this, I feel like this is something she works real hard on to take response. I just can feel her emotions.
Mm.
Um,
I can tell you do. Wow.
she suffered abuse from her mother. Tried to nurture her, but her mother didn't have that.
Of course. Yeah.
But from a very young age, I feel like the way she's showing me from like 2 and 3, abuse started happening. If it wasn't verbal, it was physical abuse, and then the sexual abuse started.
Okay. Well, is this where the anger comes from?
She says, yes, that's, it all stems from that, but it was, she said when she was around, I feel like between 9 and 10, around in there, she was raped from a man, someone who was
Okay.
above 18. And she told somebody in her family, I feel like it might have been a grandmother or an aunt or something like that.
Mm.
Um, and nobody believed her. And the way
Was
she
it a family
shows me,
member above
yes, a
18?
family member. And it's like they slapped her for telling a lie,
No.
and 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 the abuse just kept happening. And she showed me she reported that in front of the person who was doing it.
Oh, wow.
And she was, it's like she was slapped for lying or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And yeah, and she said, and so she knew that there was no help for her.
So pretty much the guy was there and she told, while he was there, told the
I
Andrew,
can't
you
tell
know,
if it's like a mother, a grandmother, or
a
an
maternal.
aunt. Yeah,
Right.
something there. I don't know if it was I don't feel like it was her mother, so I don't know if it was the grandmother or an aunt or something like that
All
was
right, this
there.
is interesting. This is how good Denise is. There seems to be generational abuse in your family, starting with your grandparents, Lori and Britta. Were your grandparents abused in Finland as children? So that's your ancestry. That's hence the in the unusual name.
She said, of course they were. And the way she shows me, it was done almost like a business. Like a business is what
So
she showed
your
me.
both
It's like,
your maternal and your paternal grandmothers were both abused. Or obviously different, you know, families, but so tell me more
yeah.
about that.
She showed me the ones in Finland. It's almost like it was a business. It's like her great grandparents, she says, in her words, farmed them out to people for sex business in exchange for um, goods or money,
Oh,
mainly goods and stuff like that. And again, she says she's not blaming anybody, but she's just saying where it was
yeah,
coming, and it just keeps going. She goes, the stuff is out here and it hasn't gone away, um, and she came in to stop the abuse,
yeah.
but it was a
Wow,
bit much, obviously.
it's too bad. Did you have any specific criteria for picking which men you killed, Eileen? Or was it all clientele?
She said, no, it wasn't all because some did get away, as they put it. There were some people, there's some men still alive today, she said, that are like going, oh my God, I was one of her participants,
Yeah.
as she says it. It she's saying it depend on, it's almost like it depended on how sick they were, like how, like if she started to say no and how aggressive they were,
Okay. Yeah.
then that triggered something in her and they were a mark. Then
Yeah.
that's when she knew she had to get rid of, because it's almost like she got triggered and she just was not in present time, and she was somewhere else, and ooh,
Maybe
everything.
the male client abused a male client. If they abused her, it would trigger her previous abuse. Could be.
That would definitely, but it was the aggressiveness, like if she, because I feel like if she backed out or said no or tried to just steal the money and run and not
Yeah.
exchange services, then they would get a little bit nuts, crazy, which,
Yeah.
when I can see why. I mean, I can see why is because they didn't get their services. But she says then that triggered her. And then sometimes she said there's one in particular, I don't know, I feel like it's the second to the last one is what she's shown. She says number 7. So I don't know
Okay.
how many she killed, but she's showing me number 7.
Okay.
She knew she had to kill him because that was the only way to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
So she
Okay.
knew this is what she had to do.
So you shot them and robbed them. Okay. Um, what was your motivation to kill? Was that it? Just angry because they were abusive and aggressive?
She said the anger, the motive to kill was I was killing everybody who abused me.
Yeah.
And a part of me was making sure that they could never do this to anybody else.
Well, why did you look to prostitution as a way to earn a living?
She said that's the only way, that's the only people that would hire her, she said,
Yeah.
because she didn't have the mental stability to hold down a job. I feel like she's very smart though,
Okay.
very intelligent,
But just
but
emotionally and mentally
she
unstable.
didn't, yeah, she was, yeah, Erik is saying she was definitely someone um, very active in her mental illness and not on medication.
Yeah.
But she would have had to have been housed in a facility to be treated because of the severity of the abuse, Erik is saying. But she it just triggered everything, she said. And she wasn't thinking, she said she wasn't thinking like, oh God, this is number two or this is number three.
Yeah.
She was thinking, I got to get out of here. And
Wow.
and she did the prostitution, she's saying, because um, she learned from an early age this people want what she had. And I also feel like I feel like she had a drug addiction of some sort.
Okay. Well, did she have certain mental illnesses, like probably PTSD from her child abuse, but anything else like borderline personality, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, depression, anxiety, anything? All the above?
Erik is saying pretty much, he says she had, of course, PTSD, but she also had multiple personalities that were
Oh, wow.
definitely not they were undiagnosed.
Okay.
Um, I don't feel like she was schizophrenic. I don't get that at all. Um, but she definitely had obviously the detachment, being able to totally detach
Yeah.
um, and um, and I guess that's where her personalities came in, how she's able to detach from
Yeah.
everything. And
Dissociative personality disorder. I'm going to close the door
yeah.
because Rooney is talking on the phone way too loud. Okay, go ahead.
um, she says that she developed, I guess it's a personality of a very I want to say a strong male, like because her strength was pretty powerful. Um, and when she would get into these psychotic episodes, as she puts it, this strength would come out of her to where she
Wow.
could overpower her um, her victims.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's in the way Erik has shown me her different personalities. It's not like she reverts into a little one and then reverts into a sweet
Yeah.
person and stuff. It's almost like her personalities were aggressive ones, like
All aggressive.
ones to help her to like move forward, like to fight, to survival is what they were
Yeah.
all were. Yeah.
Survival personalities. So,
And go
okay.
ahead. Well, Erik is saying too, and then being in that state, lower energies would come in, and then it would
Mhm.
talk with her, and then paranoia was huge for her,
Did
very
she have any
huge.
negative entity attachments or possessions?
I don't think they were possessions. Erik says though that they were like riding on a sidecar with her.
Oh, yeah. I bet. They love that to feed off that energy.
Hmm.
Why did you want to get sentenced so fast? I mean, you was let this get over, let's get it over with. Were you just tired of life?
She said that I don't get. It's not the feeling of tired of life. It's on on a sane level, let's just put it, she knew everything she was doing was not okay.
Yeah.
And she knew on some level that she wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to put an end to it.
Yeah.
And it really, it just really did some damage to her,
Yeah. I
and
bet.
not being acknowledged when she was around 9 or 10 with that abuse.
Yeah.
That really did a number on her. But also, again, she's saying, I'm not blaming anybody, but
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
just didn't have the nurturing. She didn't know how to nurture. She didn't know how to love. And she said she was done. She was ready to go.
All right. Did you plan on going on a killing spree, or did you just have enough of the way men treated you?
She didn't set out to say, I'm going to kill everybody that I come in contact with, or my clients, or whatever you want to call them, customers.
Yeah. So
But
basically, what we said before is like, she picked the people who were the men who were aggressive and possibly abuse her, right?
yeah, and she's saying it's like, it depended on what frame of mind she was in when she went out looking.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and so that determined something. And she's saying she knows this is going to not go over well with people, but there was a sense of satisfaction when she did kill somebody,
Like serves you right kind of feeling.
a sense of relief.
Okay. Was it sexual satisfaction?
No, no, she said, even though the work I did was all sexual, she goes, there was nothing sexual about what was going on. She says it's
Yeah.
just abuse.
All right. So were they're negative entities that were talking to you? Did they say, hey, kill this one or kill that one?
She, no,
Okay.
but no, she said no, but it's almost like she says, like one of them I feel like was a decent individual. I mean, not that you're just because you do go that route doesn't mean you're not a good person, but it's almost I get one of them was like a so-called decent person, let's say, and it just angered her that, and he was married, she said,
Mm.
and it just angered her that he was doing this to
Yeah.
his wife and his family. So it's almost like this serves you right,
Yeah.
what you're doing. And it just triggered stuff for her.
Are there any people that you killed that the police don't know about?
She says no.
Okay.
There's people that she's hurt
Yeah.
that the police don't know about because they would not ever go to the police. But there are people that she hurt physically,
Yeah.
that they don't know about.
Okay. Did you ever feel loved by anyone, Eileen, or did you ever love someone?
She kind of laughs a little bit. She goes, and she laughs like not like this is funny, but she's like doing this with her human body. How could this have the
Hmm.
capacity to love anybody? Um, I feel like yes, as much as she could, there was love there
Yeah.
for. I feel like there's a male there and a female there that she loved, as much as she could, but she didn't know how to keep it going
Yeah.
because all of that other stuff would come in. And
Self-loathing probably short.
that and just it's the memories, everything would flood in, and and this paranoia would come in. How could this, the safety? She said she never felt safe her entire life. She
Mm,
said she felt her safest being in prison on death row.
bet. Have you ever fallen in love with someone?
She tells me, yes, there was a woman, and I'm asking her, were you a lesbian? And
That was the next question.
uh, I asked her if she was a lesbian, and because she says it was a woman that she fell in love the most, that was like the furthest she could get. Um,
Tyra Moore, was that the one?
who is it?
Tyra Moore?
She said yes.
Okay.
But there's no way she could love her to the capacity that she deserved to be loved.
All right. Regarding um, Tyra, how disappointed were you with your girlfriend, Tyra, and her betrayal and indifference to you in the end? Did she know of the killings when they were occurring at that time?
She didn't know.
Oh,
She didn't know. But she started putting, she says, pieces together. And I feel like it's like when she would come home or wherever they were staying, I just feel like she wasn't coming home like so-called normal, like I
yeah,
just got finished working. I just feel like there were pieces to the puzzle that didn't make sense.
yeah,
I feel like there were parts where she was wounded
yeah.
physically. She showed me sometimes there was some blood splats and other
Oh,
things,
yeah.
and her profuse sweating and stuff that would make anybody like, what's really going on here? And so she kind of knew,
Yeah.
start just things start. And I feel like she um, divulged a little bit too much information to her girlfriend, and that was able for her to put pieces together.
So is this when you felt like when she found out, or had an inkling at least, that Tyra, that you felt betrayed by her and you felt the indifference she displayed to you?
Well, she says, of course, she felt betrayal
Yeah.
when she was here, of course. But again, she she did what she needed to do, because otherwise she would just very much be an accomplice and a part of that if she hadn't. And she's again is saying, I want everyone to know I take full responsibility for everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like her girlfriend had severe PTSD from that.
Oh, wow. Why, when she found out, it was like, are you kidding me? Like
Yes,
when the
because
wife of a serial killer is like, what? You're what?
yes,
Oh,
yes. And then Erik is saying, then you start looking at you like, am I crazy? Or did I what why? And and how did I
yeah.
not know? And
Wow.
yeah, and Erik says Tyra felt real dirty afterwards, and carried guilt also from it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, one more question for part one, and then we will pause and go to part two. Now, you guys stop, give a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already, please. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss part two. And this fits 53 questions here, okay? Or more. We're
Wow.
only on number 12. So
Wow.
the last question for this part is, how big a role did Tyra, your girlfriend at the time, play in all of this, if any?
Play into her killings, or
Yeah, I guess.
well, she knew I was out doing the night work and stuff. She knew I was doing that, you know.
Like
But
prostitution or just like a night job?
the prostituting, she knew
Okay,
she
got
was
it.
doing all of the
Oh,
back.
oh,
She
okay.
knew she was doing that. But she's saying she didn't play a part in any of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And we will close and start part 2, guys. Thank you, Eileen. Hang on. Thank you, Denise. Check her out in the box below. And thank you, Erik.